As of late last night, Liverpool agreed a British transfer record deal with Brighton for the midfielder, a deal we understand to be worth £111 million. I just said it a minute ago, but this afternoon we've been told that the player is having second thoughts about a move to Anfield. The player and his representatives remain in London, and there is no official word yet if Chelsea have returned with an improved offer. Right, we've got reporters, like I said, across the country. We've got Vinny O'Connor, who is live at Liverpool's training ground for us. We've got James Green, who is at Stamford Bridge for us. And then we've also got Richard Newman, who is at Brighton for us. Let's go to Vinny first, who is at Melwoods. And Vinny, look, a huge amount of money, but there are now doubts about whether Caicedo will join Liverpool. I mean, what more can you tell us on this sensational transfer story?
Well, all Liverpool have confirmed so far is obviously they have an agreement over the fee with Brighton. But when we arrived here this morning, sources were telling us as well that the fear that Liverpool had were that Chelsea could come back in, and this deal was far from a slam dunk. And I suppose the concern that they had centred around the feelings of the player and his representatives, because I think the impression that we get at the moment is that the feeling amongst them is that Chelsea have been the only show in town throughout this whole pre-season, the fact that they were the ones showing the interest, and maybe there's a bit of a loyalty as regards that, which is why now we hear that Moisés Caicedo is having second thoughts over a potential move to Liverpool. As it stands, of course, it's Liverpool who are the only club to have had a bid officially accepted by Brighton and Hove Albion. That's why we said earlier that Liverpool were still in pole position to sign Moisés Caicedo, and of course the expectation was, the information was, that he was due to arrive on Merseyside at some point today for a medical, albeit Liverpool were telling us that no medical was booked. But when we spoke to Jurgen Klopp, and maybe there was a bit of an indication as to there was still a bit of a way to go in this when we spoke to him a little bit earlier on, all he could confirm was indeed that Liverpool had agreement with Brighton.
That I can confirm that the deal with the club is agreed, whatever that means. Exactly, in the end, because we want the player and not any kind of agreement. We will see. We'll see that. What did change? We are a club. We have not endless resources. So if we didn't expect a couple of things happening in the summer, and stuff like this, we didn't think about that before the summer, to be honest. And when it happened, then we gave it a go.
Liverpool knew this wasn't going to be easy to get over the line, and so it's proving. We await developments and indeed whether Chelsea are going back in for Moisés Caicedo.
Right, well, talking of Chelsea then, James Green is at Stamford Bridge for us. James, we heard Vinny there saying that Chelsea have kind of very much been the only show in town so far this summer. Could they come back in for him? Is it possible, James?
But actually, if we go back to January, when Arsenal were heavily linked to the Brighton midfielder, Chelsea were keeping tabs every step of the way. They've had bids rejected for the midfielder already. But one thing's for sure with Chelsea, they're not afraid to spend money. They've already broken the British transfer record once by signing Enzo Fernandez back in January. And I'm telling you right now, they won't be afraid to do so again this summer with Moisés Caicedo. And we know with Chelsea, there is a pursuit for a midfielder. We've seen what's happened this summer. The likes of Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Mateo Kovacic, N'Golo Kante, Ruben Loftus-Cheek have all departed the club. There's a big gap in that middle of the park that needs to be filled, and Chelsea are not going to be afraid of what any other club does, and any other club going up against Chelsea in the transfer market knows they're in a little bit of trouble. Even if Liverpool were willing to spend £111 million on the player, Chelsea know that they will be happy to match that figure. But we still await news of whether they're going to go in, and I will be speaking to new Chelsea boss Mauricio Pochettino at the top of the hour. I'll be asking him about Caicedo, and I'll also ask him about Chelsea's pursuit of Tyler Adams, the Leeds midfielder. We understand that Chelsea triggered a £20 million release clause in his contract yesterday, so we'll find out more news on that. And look, this saga, it's another saga, and I'm sure there's a few more twists to come.
Yeah, another saga. A penny for Mauricio Pochettino's thoughts. Can't wait to hear from him. Let's go to Brighton now then, where Richard Newman is waiting for us. Richard, I mean, that bid from Liverpool, £111 million. I mean, what a bit of business for Brighton.
It would certainly seem so, wouldn't it? They only paid £4.5 million for him 2 years ago. He's only got one full season in the Premier League. But look, Brighton, they set a midnight deadline last night for bids to come in. As far as they're concerned, that's it. They want this to be concluded quickly. And we've seen that Brighton, they hold the cards. In January, Arsenal put the bids in. They were rejected by Brighton. Chelsea have tried this summer as well. They've been rejected. Moisés Caicedo only signed a new contract in March. That's only 5 months ago. So Brighton have been insistent that if that valuation is not met, they will not be selling. But a British record fee agreed with Liverpool. We don't know whether there's going to be any twists and turns. From Brighton's perspective, that the midnight deadline stood. That was the case. That they don't want to negotiate any further. So we'll have to wait and see whether there's going to be any more movement here. We're going to be speaking to Roberto De Zerbi in the next few hours. They've been linked with, there's been rumours around Mohamed Kudus, around Cole Palmer. We'll get his views on that and exactly what's been going on at the training ground regarding Moisés Caicedo over this last week.